Yangon isn't just the biggest city in Myanmar. Yangon is the economic engine of Myanmar. When Yangon grows, Myanmar grows. When Yangon struggles, Myanmar struggles. Let me explain to you how the economics of Yangon works. Hello everyone, it's ASEAN Anthony, and in this video, the economics of Yangon. Now, according to the World Bank, the Mandalay-Yangon corridor is crucial for the economy of all of Myanmar. And this is because Yangon is the center for Myanmar's finance, real estate, manufacturing, banking, and much, much more. That's why when there are problems in Yangon, these problems can be felt far beyond the borders of Yangon and into all of the regions of Myanmar. Let's start by talking about the ports in Yangon. The ports in Yangon are one of the most important economic puzzle pieces of Yangon. Yangon is connected to Myanmar's international economy through its port system. Now, a World Bank infrastructure assessment said and found that 90% of total international trade cargo goes through the Yangon ports. This makes Yangon an international city. The next piece of the economic puzzle of Yangon is Thilawa. Thilawa is a special economic zone in Yangon with the highest concentration of foreign investment and businesses. The Ministry of Commerce in Myanmar reported that in June, the factories of Thilawa were creating garments, aluminum containers, pharmaceuticals, and much, much more for domestic distribution and exports. Thilawa is a big reason why Yangon is primarily a manufacturing city. And it also helps Myanmar, or it also helps Yangon become the distribution center for all of Myanmar, because products come to Myanmar via the ports, or they are created in a place like Thilawa, and from there they're distributed all over Myanmar or all over Yangon. And of course, there's no way to talk about the economics of Yangon without mentioning the informal economy of Yangon. Now, this is a piece of the economic puzzle that many foreigners forget about because these businesses do not show up on any official economic stats. Now, if you live in Yangon, you know there are so many street businesses that are not a part of the official economy, but they definitely impact the economy of Myanmar because they are very, very popular. So whatever economic statistics you read online, just understand that those economic statistics are probably slightly lower than what they should be because they mostly don't take into consideration the informal economy of Yangon, which is quite big. But I also need to talk about some of the more negative sides of the economy of Yangon because these are also important puzzle pieces. First, transportation. Now, transportation in Yangon is the bloodline of the economy, and this is why the underdeveloped infrastructure in Yangon is such a problem. Although there has been some improvement with projects like the Dala Bridge that has finished and opened up already, and also the new Dimu train line that has opened up. Now, these are important projects because they reduce travel time. And when you reduce travel time, you reduce transportation costs. When you reduce transportation costs, you increase productivity. And when you increase productivity, you increase business activity. This is fantastic for the economy of Myanmar and Yangon. The next economic piece of the puzzle that's also negative is electricity. And we all know this is a big problem. When a company has to provide its own electricity via these diesel generators, that increases the cost of doing business, and this negatively impacts the economy. Now, according to the World Bank, there has been some improvement on the availability of electricity in Yangon for the year 2026, but there are still lots of electrical challenges that these businesses face. There's some good news, but it's still buried in the bad news. So here is the big picture. Yangon is not operating at its full potential. Yangon has been improving in 2026, but there are still a lot of untapped, unused potential in the economy of Myanmar and Yangon. And that makes for great investment opportunities for those who know how Yangon works and operates. But the economy of Yangon is still growing at about 2%, which is not great, but it's pretty good for an economy that's under harsh sanctions and an internal conflict. So all that being said, I'm actually very confident that the economy of Yangon will grow much faster when the sanctions end or when Myanmar gets back on good terms with ASEAN. I predict there will be a short-lived economic boom, and if we can achieve peace and stability in Myanmar, we might see a long-term economic boom in Myanmar and Yangon.